do it.
Imagine sitting at home scared to death because you haven't seen or heard from your 26-year-old daughter for days. You hear a knock on the door, the police come and they tell you that she's been found, but very quickly your sigh of relief turns into a cry of terror. This is the reality for Joy Armstrong's parents when she was found beheaded in Yosemite National Park. History.com states that she was one of the 5 people connected to the Yosemite serial killer of 1999. I don't tell you this story for morbidity's sake, but simply to tell you that these unspeakable acts happen to unsuspecting and ordinary people just like you and me every day, and these dangers are growing. According to Yale Academic, thousands of unsolved homicides, murders, and missing cases happen in national parks all the time, to this day. Although these parks are some of the most beautiful places that we have in the entire nation, some of them hold the most grotesque secrets of all. Today we're going to be looking at 3 things, and it is an overview of the murders and the cold cases happening in national parks, why it matters to you, and what we can do about it. One story that flooded the internet back in September was the story of Gabby Petito and her boyfriend, Brian. If you're on social media at all, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, you've probably heard about this story. CBS News cites that Gabby is a young girl, 22 years old, living out of her van with her boyfriend as they were traveling the United States looking at national parks. However, one day, Brian returned home without Gabby, and he refused to talk to anyone. Gabby's family started to panic because she'd been missing for days and they hadn't seen or heard from her at all. About a month later, Gabby turned up dead in Grand Teton National Park. A lot of people turn to national parks because of the peace, the quiet, the solitude that they offer, but truly this is one of the reasons why a lot of killers lurk there as well. They see it as the perfect place to commit a crime because it's the perfect place to hide a crime. Free Range American says that national parks are one of the best places to commit crimes because of their extreme temperatures, their really scary terrain, and their sheer magnitude. This makes finding bodies and searching for clues an incredibly arduous task. Whenever investigators find a body but they don't know what the name is, they call him John Doe if he's a male or Jane Doe if he's a female. And whenever police have exhausted all of their resources and they can't find any more information about the case, they can't come to any conclusion, this is called a cold case. One example of a cold case happened in 1996 when Julia and Lolly were found bound, throat slashed, and dead in Shenandoah National Park. Kyle and Olivia Brady say that these 2 women were actually outdoor enthusiasts, and they helped in a nonprofit that specialized in helping women be outdoors and explore the outdoors very frequently. But to this day, their killer remains free, and no evidence has come forward to convict anyone. So their families sit there wondering, waiting, just watching, hoping for answers. So what does this have to do with us? Every speech, before every speech, Professor Fike asks us, so what did you do this weekend? For me, commonly, it would be hiking, and I would assume for you, it might be something similar. It doesn't have to be hiking, but maybe something outdoors, from the mountains to the beach to anything in between. Y'all probably appreciate the outdoors. I mean, we live on this beautiful campus. How could we not? And most of you have also probably had an encounter with a national park at some point, whether it was through your voluntary choice or whether you were dragged there on a family vacation. Pre-COVID numbers state that in national parks, in 2019, whenever we were seeing pre-COVID numbers, parks were seeing 327 million visitors every year. And Keaton Frost of YPR Radio says that even though we haven't gotten our final numbers back for 2021, we're seeing numbers that are expected to break those records as well. Now, statistically speaking, as the number of visitors go up, the amount of danger will also rise as well. According to The Atlantic, violent crimes have risen at a rate of 30%, and especially murders are included in this. And unfortunately, this also includes national parks. So what about those of you who don't really like the outdoors? What about those of you who haven't gone to a national park, but if you think, ew, bugs, sweat, that's disgusting? Well, I would argue that most of you probably have family or friends who have gone to national parks before, who do go there regularly. You don't want to be the friend or family member who's frantically searching for answers when you can't find your loved one. And if still, after all this, you think, well, there's still nobody in my circle who does that. Hello, I'm right here. I do go to national parks. So regardless of all of that, think about the friends, the families of these people who have been murdered or gone missing in national parks. Think about the pain that they're going through. It's our responsibility to do something about that and to find answers for them. So how do we do that? The 3 ways that we can do this is to 1, raise awareness, 2, donate to the cause, and 3, don't become a statistic. The first one is raising awareness. Now, we looked at the Gabby Petito case earlier. One thing that really helped a lot with her being found within 20 days, which 20 days does sound like a long time, but when we're looking at an investigation of this grand of a scale, it's a really short amount of time to find a body within an entire national park. One of the biggest things that helped with that was the publicity of this case. According to CNN, a woman said that According to CNN, a woman provided police with evidence for this case that was really helpful. She said that she and her boyfriend were driving by Grand Teton National Park and they picked up a man and he was hitchhiking with them. Because this video was really popular, it gained lots of likes and then it went viral, which eventually went to the authorities, and this helped give them a clue to help solve where Gabby's body was. Another example this is just one example of how media can help in different cases, but another grand one that can help, that was just one example of how media can help solve these cases. The Center for Improving Investigation says that 73% of police officers use social media in their investigations. They use it and they believe that it helps them tremendously. Crime Junkies episode, have y'all heard of Crime Junkies? It's a very famous podcast. The Crime Junkies episode, there was a man, in this Crime Junkies episode about cold cases, this man said that the publicity of his son's disappearance was what was helping fuel the investigations that are still ongoing to this day. They haven't found him, but the publicity is what keeps these searches ongoing, and that is giving him hope. So I have emailed you all, I'm not sure if you've seen it yet, but I emailed you all a link to the LAPD Missing Persons Facebook page. If you click that link, it'll take you to their Facebook. If you follow them, then every time you go on Facebook, you'll see a list of the missing people. Anytime these come across your page, hit that share button. You never know who it's going to go to, but it may save somebody's life. The next thing that you can do is donate to the cause. One really notable cause is called Season of Justice, and it was created by AudioChuck, or the creators of the Crime Junkie podcast. After having reported on so many gruesome cases every week, they saw how scary it was that all of these people were having to go through losing their loved ones. So they created Season of Justice. What Season of Justice does is they give grants to law enforcement to do advanced DNA sequencing on cold cases, and they also provide grants to families directly so that way they can sponsor search parties or campaigns to help their loved ones. So again, in that email that I sent you, there's a direct link to this. You can click on it. You'll see the donate button. It should be just right down underneath beyond what I have in the screenshot here. And then you can donate to it. Everything, even just $1 counts. And lastly, what you can do to help this cause, how you can contribute significantly, is by not becoming a statistic. I like to hike frequently, and I like to travel solo frequently, and so I've learned a lot of things along the way. One of the most important things that I've done throughout my time of hiking and traveling solo is I always carry 3 weapons with me. I know how to use them, and I'm really good at using them. Another thing that I do is I make sure that at least 3 people know where I'm at all times. They know when I'm starting the hike, when I'm supposed to finish the hike, and they know that if I don't come back within a certain radius, they need to alert the authorities. I'm also a trained martial artist, so I know how to break a few ribs if I need to, and that comes in handy if my weapons fail. So with that being said, if you've never had any martial arts or self-defense training, go get some. There are a lot of local places that offer free martial arts defense training, and you can also respond to the email that I sent you, and I can do some basic training with you as well. We have to fight so that these victims' voices may be heard. We have gone over a brief overview of cold cases and murders in national parks. We know why it's important to you, and we know the things that you can do. Danielle, 5'3", 140 pounds, blue shirt, orange shorts, brown hiking boots. I refuse to be the next victim. Will you?